Hi everybody, it's Cindy here with Stampin' Chick Creations. Welcome to tonight's video. It is Monday, August 25th, and I am pre-recording this video for you because I, my friends, am helping my sister with her Christmas class tonight in Sarnia, and she has 15 people attending. So super excited for her, and I'm always very appreciative when I have an extra set of hands to help me with classes. So I offered to help her with that tonight. So I am bringing a pre-recorded video, and I figure this is the best of both worlds. You still get a video, but it's not necessarily live. So a couple things before we get started. Number one, I did send out a newsletter last week. Not everybody has opened it, I see. So make sure you check that out. It does have the classes that I have coming up for September, October, November listed. So keep an eye out for those. I have actually opened up the registration for September's elite group. September's something else. There's a couple things. Anyway, I've opened them up for. So, something else that you're going to see posting, you probably saw posted actually this afternoon, was World Card Making Day. So I'm actually going to attempt to do this in person, which I've never done before because it's always conflicted with something going on. But I'm going to do an in-person event here at the studio. It's only going to be a couple hours. We will stream. I'm not sure how yet, but we will stream the video that will be broadcasted from Sarah Douglas, who is the CEO of Stampin' Up. She's going to do a 1-hour presentation. So I'm going to stream that here in my studio for us to be together and watch together. We will also have, that is absolutely free. World Card Making Day is absolutely free. You're more than welcome to come, no charge. However, the kit they are going to be using is an exclusive kit that goes live September 3rd, and it looks amazing. It's got 10 cards and a box organizer. So we can pre-order that on September 3rd. So if you'd like to purchase that as an add-on, you absolutely can, but there's absolutely no obligation to do that. We would just like you to come with us, but I'll tell you, don't have that FOMO, right? So what happens, you think, oh, I don't need that kit. I don't really like that kit. And then you see the kit, and then you see all the things you can do with the kit. Then you see the box, you're like, oh, wish I had got the kit. And then you know what happens? I'm going to tell you what happens. The kit sold out. And then you're like, darn, I wish I got the kit. So I'm thinking with taxes and shipping, I'm thinking it's going to be around the $40 price point, but don't mark me on that because I don't know. I'm just kind of guessing, okay? But again, you're more than welcome to come and join me free here and just watch along with us. And maybe I'll have some munchies. Maybe I'll have some extra make and takes for you to do or something. I haven't quite decided yet. So first time doing it, so I'm kind of excited about that. The other thing you would have seen either online or in the newsletter is I am bringing back paper, ink, and glitter. So if you are familiar with paper, ink, and glitter, I did this many years ago with my sister in Sarnia. And so because there's not a lot of brick and mortar stores around anymore, I've revamped it. Excuse me, I'm doing this with my team this year and I'm so excited. I did do something similar with my friend Tina from Northern Stamper last year. But this year I decided to do a similar event, but with my team. I'm losing my voice. And it's a full weekend. Okay, so it's Friday night right through to Sunday afternoon. It's being held in London because it's a hidden gem. It's not far. It's kind of in the middle of every place. And it's going to be a weekend, and we have projects planned for you to make. So there'll be lots of those. I can't remember how many. I'd have to look it up. And then we're going to have demonstrations for you to watch. We'll have a prize table. We'll have all attendee giveaways. We've got swag, all the things. And something we've done this year is we're giving you 2 different options for registration so that depending on your price point and your budget, you can select. The VIP option will give you extra goodies and extra little perks, an extra bag, that kind of thing. And then the other option 2, will just give you the basics that you need to complete the projects. Okay, so completely up to you which one you choose. I do have a discounted hotel rate reserved. So if that interests you, then you can share. I think some of the rooms you can put up to 4 people in. So it can be a pretty inexpensive weekend if you choose. Okay, so I hope to see you there because we are in the planning stages and we're so excited. I can't wait for you to see the gift. It's a surprise. So yeah, so be sure to register for that. If you don't know where to find the link for that, message me. I'm happy to send it to you. Last year I did offer a virtual option after. I don't know if I'm going to do that this year or not. It's going to depend on how we do it. I am going to have very limited spots this year though, because we are cutting back the amount of spots. Last year we had 60 and we're not going to have 60 this year because we want to, we took some feedback and we're going to do some improved changes. So super excited about that. But anyway, I think that's it for that. World Card Making Day, Paper, Ink, and Glitter, September, October classes. If you're not on my newsletter, you need to be, because that's where all the things go on. Okay, so what are we doing tonight? That's not why you guys came. You didn't come here to see all those things. You came to find out what in the heck are we doing tonight. Okay, this is what we're doing. Let me see. We are going to work with Scenic Adventure. Now, this is a stamp set, a bundle actually, that I've had for quite a while. I loved it because the font and the words, right? But I love that it was pretty standard. Like it's got some water, it's got some mountains, it's got some trees. Pretty, multi-purpose. So I thought you could use it for thinking of you, sympathy, you name it, right? So we're going to work with this, and we do have the dies that also coordinate. I'm not going to do anything with the dies tonight, for the most part, just because I want to focus on the stamp set for tonight. But the dies do coordinate very, very nicely. So you can purchase this bundle. So that's both pieces right here for $68.25 from my store. Or you can purchase just the stamp set for $33. And just the dies are $43. Okay, so it is better of a deal to get the bundle. So you get the bundled savings that way. Okay, so I'm going to do 3 cards with you tonight using this bundle. And then you do want to make sure you come back on Thursday, because Thursday I am going to be live. I'm hoping to. That's my intent anyway. But we're going to be working with coloring and the different ways you can color. So I've got some pretty cool things planned, so I'm excited about that as well. All right, so let's start with our first card. I'm fighting another cold. My husband came home with a cold. I could have absolutely killed him because now everybody in the house is sick. So not cool. Okay, so Cloud Cover is going to be my card base. Granny Apple Green is going to be my next layer. And then this is aqua paper. So watercolor paper, aqua paper. This is much, much thicker than our white cardstock. This you would use with our aqua painters, which come 3 in a pack. You want to use aqua paper when using your aqua pens because this absorbs the water. Okay. Our white cardstock, it essentially can. It can. However, it will start to pile as it gets more water. It's not designed to absorb water. This paper here is thicker and it is designed to absorb the water. Okay, so super important that if you're using the aqua painter, you're using aqua paper. Okay, aqua and aqua. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is, because I want this to dry, I'm going to take my, no, you know what? I was going to do Balmy Blue, but I think I'm going to do, no, let's do Balmy Blue. Okay, I'm going to take my Balmy Blue re-inker. I'm going to take my Granny Apple Green re-inker. I've lost my, excuse me, my old olive re-inker, which is craziness because I don't know if I just put it in the wrong spot because I used it to make my original card. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually just, so if you don't have re-inker, so I always encourage you to purchase the re-inker when you purchase your stamp pad. And the reason for that is lot number, okay? The lots. You want to make sure the lots are the same. So if you ever have to re-ink your ink pad, it's coordinating. Re-inkers will last you an eternity. I promise you. It's very, like I have my crushed curry, I think it is. Yeah, my crushed curry. So you can, whoopsie-daisies. See how abused this one is? It's one of my very first re-inkers, and that hasn't settled. But it's about, like, I still have over half left. So, and I've had that for 19 years or about. Now I have yellow all over me. But so I'm going to take a re-inker. I'm going to put this on my glass mat. If you don't have a glass mat, you need to have a glass mat. Everybody needs a glass mat. So I just need 1 drop. I'm going to actually use, so my aqua painters come 3 in a pack. These are water painters, actually. They come 3 in a pack. So there are different tips on them. I'm going to actually use, make sure this is recording. I'm going to actually use this paintbrush one. Okay. So this one's very wide. And what I'm doing is I'm going to squeeze this a little bit just to get some water into the tip, into the head of it. Yeah, it's coming. I think when I did this the other day, I actually ended up switching because this one was not cooperating. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to actually take this and I'm going to just blend this. And so as you squeeze, you get more water out. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to go back and forth. I think when I did this on my original card, I actually did use Pool Party. Now that I'm looking. And I might actually switch aqua pens just because that one is kind of causing me a little bit of grief. There we go. There we go. That's a little bit better. Okay, so as I squeeze, I'm getting water. So I can just continue to squeeze and get more water out. And I'm not going to do the whole thing because I also want some grass, but I want mostly blue because I'm going to create a sky here is what I'm actually hoping to accomplish. So I know I'm doing this on an angle. I'm doing that on purpose because I like to, when I watercolor, I like to have that. So if you get too much in one area, the beauty of this is that you can just kind of move the color around just by adding more water. Okay, so if I'm happy with that, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab like a Kleenex paper towel, whatever you have near you. I'm going to clean that up off my glass mat. You can see how quickly and easily that cleans. And then I'm going to bring in my Granny Apple Green. Now this paper is wet and it's going to curl a little bit, but that's okay because I can actually take my heat gun to it and I can, ultimately I can dry my paper, right? So I'm just squeezing and just very lightly. And I am kind of going into the blue a little bit on purpose. Okay, so again, I'm not going to stress out doing this entire sheet because I'm going to actually tear this as well. And I do want this to dry a little bit. So 1 drop, you can see how far 1 drop will take you, right? So you can get quite a bit of ink out of 1 little drop. And I'm just playing now at this point. Okay. All right. So back and forth just to get some of the ink off. I'm squeezing just to push it all out. Put that back in there. Now, if this goes off the paper, I can just blot it. Okay. So while that's doing its thing, what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to come behind me and I'm going to emboss my Granny Apple Green paper here. Okay, I'm going to do it with the Waves embossing folder. Let me just put that in there. Let that dry. I probably will hit that with my heat gun just so that it speeds up the process a little bit, just because sometimes I get a little bit impatient. And we are going to stamp right on top of that. So the other reason why I get a little bit impatient. Okay. So let me take my Granny Apple Green. Let me go behind me here and emboss with the Waves embossing folder. And as soon as I need to find my Waves embossing folder first, apparently. Because apparently I did not put that back where it was supposed to go. Well, isn't that clever of me? Not really. I could actually use any embossing folder. It does not necessarily have to be the Waves, but I did want to use the Waves because I thought they were kind of fun, but apparently I did not put that back. So, I guess, yes I did. I thought it was a large embossing folder. It's not a large. It's a 3D, but it's not a large. Okay, so sometimes I surprise myself, and I actually do put things away. Okay, so got my machine going. So here are my Waves. Here's Waves. Okay. So I'm done with my reinkers for right now. So I'm going to put those back. Okay. I'm going to hit this with my heat gun just to make it speed up just a smidge, because I need this nice and dry to do my stamping. You can't stamp when this is damp because the ink will not stay, right? Because our ink is water-based, so it just won't actually stay on the paper. Okay, so that's pretty darn good. So I'm gonna take that. Now I'm gonna take my trees. So I'm gonna use all 3 of my trees here. So I got 3 trees. I need my water, and I'm gonna use these flowers. Okay, so first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my water. I'm going to line it up. I'm going to take my Balmy Blue ink. I'm going to stamp. Okay. Now, Balmy Blue is a very, very pale color, so you won't see much. And what I've done there is I've actually just stamped it there in between the 2 colors, just to show that this is water and this would be sky. Okay. Now, I'll put that to the side. I'm going to take my largest tree first. I'm going to go on an angle. I'm going to grab my old olive ink pad. I'm going to ink this up. And I'm going to go about there. Okay. And then I'm going to take my next biggest tree. And I'm going to go down a little bit with this tree. And then I'll do another tree, same tree, but I'm going to go up a little bit. Okay. And then I'm going to take my little tree and I'm going to place it about there. So there's all my trees. Now I'm going to take my flowers. This is a really big block for my flowers, but anyway, I'm going to take my flowers and I'm just going to go along the bottom of the trees. Just to make it look a little bit more finished. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually rip this. I'm going to rip towards me though. Okay, and I'm going to rip the bottom. And you always rip towards you when you do this. Okay, now I need Stampin' Scrub. I'm completely out of Stampin' Scrub, so I'm going to use my baby wipe and hope that this actually lasts. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to do let the journey begin. So I'm going to show you something really cool about this though. When I go let the, it's on one stamp. How brilliant is this? Right? And then the word journey is on its own stamp. Okay? So if I do the let the in, well, let's put that on straight first of all. Let's start with that. If I do the let the, and I can do it in Pecan Pie. So Pecan Pie is starting to become my go-to color if I don't want to use black. Okay, so I'm going to go let the. Okay. Yes. You guys still with me? I need you to do lots of commenting. How about we say hashtag trees? What do we think? And I will pick somebody from the comments to get a prize. Okay. So I'm going to do Journey in black. So this is just Memento black. And I'm going to get it right between this let the. Now, if I had actually, it doesn't matter. Anyway, I didn't want that on my tree, but it's okay. It's okay. Did I move my camera? Oops-a-daisies, friends. Sorry. Okay, somehow I moved my camera. I didn't even realize I had moved it. Okay, so let the journey begin. So I did not want my J over my tree, but it's okay. Nobody knows except for you and I. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Granny Apple Green on top of my cloud cover. Okay. And then I'm going to take, now I will recommend when you use aqua paper to use a little bit more glue because it is a little bit thicker and takes a little more to adhere. Okay, so I like to just hold this here for a minute to make sure that it actually stays. A lot of times I'll just put a block over it just to make sure it holds. Okay. So there is the first card. Pretty simple. But I love the aqua paper. I love the tearing. I could add some gems to this, right? Some Wink of Stella, that kind of thing. Okay, card number 1, done. Okay, so now the next couple cards we are going to actually do, we're actually going to do some blending. Let me see if I can get a card here. Okay, so I'm using cloud cover for this one as well. And I'm using Granny Apple Green because that's what I happen to have. So this is going to go here. So this is the Notes of Texture textured notes in die. So you'll notice that it actually has these little, can you tell there? They're actually die cut pattern on the outside. So each rectangle has its own design, which is kind of cool. So it's really good standard die to have in your collection. So if you're looking for a rectangle set, this one I really like because it's a nice subtle pattern around the outside of the die. And it's more than just like a plain old die, right? Okay, so that's that. So I'm gonna put that to the side for just a second. We're gonna work along on this white piece here. So I'm gonna take my blending brushes. So I'm gonna actually use a little Daffodil Delight, and I maybe use a little Pumpkin Pie and a little Old Olive. Okay, so trick with using blending brushes is this. When you use blending brushes, you should always start off your page. Okay, and the reason you do that is because you don't want a blob. So sometimes what happens is that you end up with a yucky blob. Okay. So this is my crushed curry. It's very light. I don't expect you're going to see much here on camera. But trust me, it's beautiful. Okay. Are you happy with that? I think so. Okay, so that's crushed curry. Now I'm going to go in, I'm going to take in some pumpkin pie. So pumpkin pie. And I am kind of mixing the two colors together a little bit between the pumpkin pie and the crushed curry. Now my edges are colored. It's okay. It's not going to hurt anything. Then I'm going to bring in my Old Olive. Okay. How many people don't have blending brushes? I actually did not like them at first when we first got them, I'll be honest. I was like, what the heck are these things? Now they're my favorite. I kept getting this like caca blob, kind of like this, but these I don't really care so much about because I'm going to cover them up. But at first I kept going, this is terrible. You get these blobs. Like, why does anybody want this? But once you understand how to use them properly, they're actually amazing. Okay, so here we go. So now what I want to do is my water that I had previously. I'm kind of using all the same stamps for essentially for most of this, but Balmy Blue. So this is gonna be my water, right? And it's okay that I overlap, right? Can you see this? I don't know if you guys can appreciate how beautiful this actually is in person. It's really, really faint, but it's okay. So then I'm gonna take my gray granite. That's a color I don't use very often, gray granite. And I'm going to take the mountains. Let's get those mountains out of here. Okay, so I'm going to do the mountains on an angle just because the block, whatever. Anyway, gray granite. So I'm going to go there. Okay. And put that on there for right now. And then I'm going to use my trees. So here come back the trees. So let's start with the tall tree and my old olive. So let's put the tall tree here. So I hope you're commenting a lot, because honestly, guys, it's super important that you comment, because the way the algorithms are with Facebook, nobody's seeing the videos. Okay, so I'm going to go about there. So this one's kind of going in the center, as such. Then I'm going to use the next tree. Go about there. And then I'm going to do this tree. Oops, I didn't push hard enough on that one. That's all right. Okay, and then I'll do my little tree. Maybe about here. I'm guessing. I should have put it over there. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Okay, so then what I'm going to do, see how pretty this is? Now I'm going to actually do some stamping here. I'm going to say cheers to another, and then I'm going to do journey. Okay. So I need to die cut one of these shapes to do my cheers to another. So, all right. So I was going to do this on a die, and I actually cannot remember which die that I had. So anyway, we are going to pivot, and we are going to go cheers to another. Cheers to another. Let me see here. Let's make sure this is going to be lined up, because if it's not going to be lined up, it's not going to help anybody. Cheers to another. Here we go. So I am using Azure Afternoon for this one. Go this way. Beautiful. Okay, so now take my paper snips. I'm going to diagonal that one. I'm going to straight flush square this one. And I'm going to do a pop-up here. Okay. And then on this one here, I'm going to actually use the word journey, and I'm going to use my pumpkin pie on this one. I already have journey out and on a block, so we're good that way. So journey, let's make sure it's actually cleaned off. Okay, I'm going to fussy cut this. So let me close this up so I don't end up with something in my hand. Okay, so I'm going to take my paper snips. So this is always a really great alternative if you don't have a die. You can always cut your words out. I generally don't have a lot of patience for this kind of technique, but sometimes I think it's really fun to do this because I think it just adds an extra layer of awesomeness to your card. And it's not meant to be perfect. We don't want this to be perfect. We don't want to look like it's laser cut. That's what makes it handmade. And then I could put the journey down here. Oh, how about you can see that on camera? That would be even awesomer if you could see it on camera. Okay, so I'm going to take my dimensionals. I'm going to 1, 2. So I'm going to put that here. And then we're going to use the journey. Oh, I'm going to cut this in half actually. There we go. I'm very shaky today. I had to use my Ventolin and it makes me very, very shaky. It doesn't actually work. So, okay, there we go. Journey. Okay, now I'm going to bring in my card base. Move this stuff out of the way. All right, and now our last card we're going to do, I'm going to use Secret Sea, which is one of my absolute favorite colors. Granny Apple Green. This color combination is stunning. I'm going to use a piece of white here, and then I'm going to use a piece of white here to cover up. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm actually going to just kind of mark my circle here. Okay, and the reason I'm doing that is so that I know where I would like to do my sponging on here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my Old Olive. And so now the beauty of this is that I can actually go off my page because it's going to be covered up. Okay, so I'm going to do Old Olive, and I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to, so I've marked my circle just so that I know where it is, but this is all going to be hidden, okay? So I don't really have to worry too much about it being perfect, which is kind of nice. So then from there, I'm going to go and I'm going to do a little bit of pumpkin pie. So you see, I'm really only using a core number of colors here, right? So you don't always have to have a large amount of colors when you're doing cards and stuff. Obviously, it's nice to have them, but you don't always have to have an abundance of colors. So there's my pumpkin pie. And then I'm going to use my Balmy Blue. Oh, which I don't think I have a blend out for a brush out for my Balmy Blue. I could use this one, I guess. Okay, and then so I'm going to flip this upside down actually, just so because it's a little easier to operate with, so I can hang on. Balmy Blue is very, very, very pale, so you might actually need more more times and a little bit more pressure to actually see the blue on this, okay? And I am going to blend it into the orange a little bit just so that it kind of has not such a distinct line. Okay. So I can erase this line if I wanted to, which I might actually just very quickly. You shouldn't be able to see it on my card, but just sometimes it's just nice to have that erased. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my basic black, and I'm going to start with my largest tree again. I like to start from largest to smallest usually when I'm doing these kind of things. Just going to clean off my block a little bit just because I can see it's all not amazing. Oops. Oops, my block's still wet, so it's not holding my stamp. Okay, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to use my block. And I'm just going to put this over here for a minute. And I'm going to actually stamp this about here. So you can see it's a very nice, juicy ink pad, this one. And then I'm going to use my next biggest tree, which has sprouted legs on me. Where did my bigger tree go? Here it is. It fell off the block. Okay. So then I'm going to use my next biggest tree. I'm just going to take my baby wipe and clean off this line here just because I don't want that to end up on my paper. And I'm going to go about there. Okay, and then my last tree will be the little tree. Which we will put right beside this tree right there. Okay. So what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to put the I'm going to actually take the die. This is the one die we are going to use today, and it's the flowers. I'm going to cut this out with Old Olive. Okay, so those are little dies. I'm going to cut this out with Old Olive, and I'm going to put these at the bottom of the trees just so that it looks a little bit more finished. I'm only going to do one. Okay, here we go. So now these flowers actually stay in the paper, so I'm just going to trim them off just so that down just to here. So remembering you're going to come back Thursday and we're going to talk about coloring and all the different ways we can color and all the different tools we can use. It's going to be quite exciting. I got some pretty cool things planned. So be sure to come back for that. So I'm going to place that about there, and then my circle will just go on top. As such, right? So I want to make sure that this goes down enough that you can see it. Okay, so what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to actually place my circle down, but I'm not going to glue here. I'm going to actually just do the edges here, and the reason I'm doing that is so I can tuck my flowers in. Okay, so then I can kind of come in, tuck in my flowers where I want my flowers to go. Down like that. Just to make it look a little bit more finished. There we go. Okay. And if I bring my card base in, just right here. Go ahead and glue this down. Make sure you're gluing the right side. Okay, and then I'm going to bring this one in. Oh, I have just a hair there. Okay. This here. Now if I had little birds, I probably would have put them here, but I could put some gems there instead. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put just breathe and take it slow. It's one of my favorite sayings from the set. It's right here. I'm staring right at it. I was like, and I'm not sure where that's gone. Okay. And I'm going to do this in black. So I'm going to close up my glue. This is becoming a bad habit of mine, not closing my glue. So just breathe and take it slow, can go right there. Oh, sorry, right there. Okay. There you go. Okay, now I would put some gems there, but let's recap the 3 cards. And then I can do my cleanup. Okay, so card number 3, card number 2, and card number 1. Okay, so if you purchase this stamp set or bundle from me, let's say the bundle, no, let's say both. If you purchase either the stamp set or the bundle, I will send you the card pieces to make these cards. Okay, so everything you see here, I will send to you in the mail so you can create your own at home. Okay, you're obviously going to have your own blending brushes. You're going to have your own inks and reinkers, those kind of things, but I will send you the card pieces for you. Okay, all right, so I hope you enjoyed those cards. I hope you're going to join me on Thursday for my live where I'm going to show you different ways we can do coloring and all the different tools and what do we do with them and when do you use what and why would you use that and why would you not use that, right? Because I know that part can be very, very overwhelming. So let's have a chat about that and what your best options are, what your preferences are, all those things. But in the meantime, I would love for you to check out my upcoming classes and get registered for those. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night. Bye.